Welcome to the show that some people are affectionately calling P-A-E-D-T, a cute nickname if ever I heard one. It takes almost as long to say as the normal one and is a real tongue twister. And for branding purposes, well, the SEO on that would be a real nightmare. But if the fans are asking for it, pop us on the BBC and call us P-A-E-D-T until the cows come home. So what does it stand for? Well, that's easy. The P is for foie. The majority of messages I've had have been around the camera quality, but reading between the lines, I'd say it's a gentler way of saying foie. Don't those two look great? A, awe-inspiring. Despite our problems, we still keep calm and carry on. We both have our crosses to bear and we do it with quiet fortitude. Emslie is gluten-free and Parsons has astigmatism so slight he doesn't need to do anything about it. But despite this, we carry on chatting. E, exhilarating. Turn us on, plug us in, feel the rush. D, devoted. With one listener on TikTok asking if we were a couple, we want to clear this up. We are devoted to one another, non-sexually, and we have agreed that if either of us does well in comedy, the other is allowed to ride the coattails of success. Again, that's not a euphemism. And finally, T, that's easy. The listener. Some would argue that that is an L, but it's the outside-the-box thinking that brings our listeners back time and time again, and without you, this would all be pointless. So thank you, and welcome to the show. Parsons?
That was lovely. I'm going to be honest, it started slow, but by God did it build.
I didn't finish my end.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine.
What was the end?
Did you have any nicknames growing up?
Oh, yes. That was a nice lead in.
Yeah.
Sorry, I really broke your lead in. Yeah. Sorry. I
said, yeah, come on.
Sorry, I just remixed myself. Live. Lovely stuff. Bit of fun. That's got you already. What a car crash of a start. Love that, though. I do like the fact that you even found a cheat code to the listeners.
The listeners.
So even in the abbreviation, you couldn't think quickly enough for a T. So you were like, listeners, the listener.
The listener.
I can imagine what your mind was like. Do you know what? I can imagine what your mind said when you came up with that, and it would have said, that'll do.
Yeah. I wrote it while I was supposed to be on a work call.
That's your motto, isn't it?
Right stuff while you're supposed to be on a work call.
That'll do.
Did you have any nicknames growing up?
Do you know what? I didn't. Not that I knew of. Always Parsons. Surname Parsons. Had a bit of Joe Blogs action early doors.
Joe Blogs?
Joe Blogs back in the day, the 90s.
They called you Joe Blogs?
I had a bit of it.
Wasn't that...
Parsnips came in briefly.
Parsnips.
And then left. Exit stage right. Pointed to the left when I said that.
Parsnips. A friend calls you P-Snips.
P-Snips, yes. Friends do call me P-Snips. So Parsons and variations thereof is about as much as we got. I did have an email address when I was younger. And you know when you write your name in your email address, hotmail.co.com or whatever it was. I don't have this email address anymore. But...
Who were you pointing at?
The camera, the listeners, the watchers.
The one listener. Please don't try.
The people watching our YouTube. The person watching our YouTube.
Sure.
Sorry, I went plural then.
We're not there yet.
So I had a Hotmail address, and you know when it sort of gives you suggestions? Mm-hmm. So Hotmail's nickname for me was Jojo Pistols. And yes, I went with it. JJ Pistols, signing into MSN.
JJ Pistols.
JJ Pistols.
Hang on, so you typed into MSN
Joseph Parsons
or Hotmail.
Yeah.
My name is Joseph Parsons.
Yeah.
And their AI back then, and we're talking probably what, 98?
This wasn't so much of an AI as a person just on the other end of the line.
Somebody...
coming up with nicknames for people. We don't have that one, just going through filing cabinets going, no, Joseph Parsons has taken
Jojo Pistol.
Jojo Pistol.
I remember my
97, not even the year I'm born.
I remember my brother set me up an email address first time around. My email was smellmybreath@hotmail.com.
Smell your breath.
Yeah.
What will we... What?
Can you imagine putting that on a CV?
So did your brother think that was a funny thing to do?
Yeah, he thought that was...
And you were like, yeah, I'll go with it.
And then the next one, I went for darkness0011 at Hotmail.
Did you like the darkness at the time?
I was going to say, that's for the band, not depression.
Could read as both.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it was during the emo era, so your MSN could have had a very emo-y song. You could have had Bright Eyes on, and then with the email address darkness, it sort of...
I would have had brackets 8, close bracket for the little note icon.
Oh,
That was the note back in the day.
I can't remember the shortcuts. I just remember putting a lot of punctuation in between sentences.
Uppercase, lowercase, higher case.
Higher case.
What's
it's
that?
a higher case, which is that.
So yeah, I had that as my email address.
We're
both remixing ourselves today. I then, nicknames wise, sort of went through a bit of phases with them.
Yeah, what did you get? Because no one can say your surname. I know that by almost half the people that introduce you on stage.
So I would be Emslie for ages.
And not Elmsley like some of your closest friends call
Or
you.
Hemsley. I'm thinking, where have you got an H from? But I was Emslie for a bit, then Gemsley. First name, last name.
Oh, I like that. That's quite cute.
Then at university, a lot of people called me Joey.
Joey?
Yeah, Joey.
Because you're Australian and back in university.
Then it moved to Old Joey Sobes as a
Because you were sober.
So I think old.
Quite love that.
Old because I guess I'm a bit older than my years.
Yes.
Joey because of my name. Sobes because I didn't drink. So that became Old Joey Sobes.
There's a correlation there, because at university I was gifted a pipe and slippers because I wasn't much fun.
Really?
Yeah. That makes me sound bleak. I still went out and stuff.
You were gifted a
but
pipe...
because I was always like, I can't be bothered to go out because I never really liked nightclubs. But I still did it because social pressure. But yeah, they used to...
I did for a bit, and then I thought I don't need... I'm above social pressure.
I don't need drunk people whilst I'm sober, and... To be fair, having been sober for coming up to 2 years, that's me rounding up again, it's about a year and a half, I can understand why.
No, I didn't mind it at all at uni. I was just very happy to give my opinion.
And that's never changed.
Yes. Any other nicknames that I can think of? No. One of my favourite nicknames for somebody else was somebody called Default, because they looked like a default character from FIFA when you were building your character.
Absolutely love that.
Isn't that brilliant?
That's some people are really creative.
Some are fantastic.
Do you know what? Greg Davies had a fantastic bit on this. I think it's some of my favourite stand-up.
He did.
That closes that off.
So Greg Davies.
Never mention it again, but that's wonderful stuff. I love Greg Davies. Best storyteller, I think, in stand-up.
Oh, he's brill. How's your week been?
S with a capital stressed. Oh, hang on. The other way round. Stressed with a capital S?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to go too deep into tour chat, but it's stressful. I'm trying to organise a lot of stuff with the venues and also write the show and also do all of the final details and learn it. Because I've written it, but I also need to learn it.
Sure.
So I'm not sleeping well.
No? Eating well?
That's the one thing I'm able to maintain.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I am still keeping to the gym because that keeps me happy. But everything else, my body, doesn't agree with me at the moment. It's giving me headaches. It's giving me other areas that I'm not going to go into.
Other aches
and pains. The stomach was just... I think I was so stressed that I gave my body an ab workout yesterday.
Oh, man.
So I woke up, I was like, did I do 100 million sit-ups? I don't remember doing 100 million sit-ups, but my body feels like I have.
So for everybody listening, if you live in or by Falmouth, you could really help.
What was I thinking?
What were you thinking?
Anyway,
we'll come on to tour chat another time.
Another time.
We're getting closer,
yes,
which is exciting.
Literally in a week or so.
Yeah,
because when this goes out, it'll be about a week or so. There may still be, or may not be, tickets left for the London date on the 19th.
Well, we did some admin and we booked our flights we booked hotels.
Yes, so please come to the tour.
And are we sharing beds?
I think we've gone. Do you know what? This is going to go fine. I think we're going to book 2 hotel rooms.
I think we've gone premium.
Oh, isn't it fun?
Imagine that being classed as premium, booking your own bed for the night.
Yeah, but that's what hotel costs are like anyway. Anyway, I'll keep talking whilst you have a sip. It's details like that. But yeah, generally, I say I'm stressed, but a lot of my next week or two are quite critical for the tour. So I'm using as much time as I can, although have recently picked up Pokemon Blue on the Game Boy, and that has now consumed my evenings.
Yes.
Because I can't be working 100% of the time.
Well, no, that would be insane. Nobody's expected to do that.
I'm getting my lads ready for the Elite Four.
So just on that, and it won't turn into a Pokemon podcast, but we did beat the Elite Four the other day.
You just beat the Elite Four.
Yeah.
But you were on Pokemon Red Fire, which is like new vibe, isn't it?
Slightly new.
Slightly new.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm on the Blue Old.
Yeah, it was
the old Blue Old.
It was great, and beat the Elite Four, and then doesn't tell you, but you then have to fight your rival, and you're really depleted at that point. Gotta have a lot of potions. But anyway.
Yeah, don't worry, I've been stocking up on the potions, mate. This is the first time that I've been old enough to sensibly use my budget.
Oh, when you're a kid, you don't understand.
When you're a kid, you just you literally don't, you have millions and millions of pounds, but you don't spend any of it. Yep. You're like, actually, no, you can use the money. Anyway, this is Pokemon chat.
Is that a mirror of life? I'm trying to think whether that's... I guess
are you trying to maneuver this neatly away from Pokemon into a life sort of sentence in order for the listeners to get something from this podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess you don't have
probably.
millions when you're a kid.
No, but when you're a kid, you're not really thinking about money anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about being rich and famous or whatever, but you don't think about money.
I just remember as a kid, all I really wanted to do was just be outside running around.
Sort of for me, until Football Manager came into my life. Then all I wanted to be was inside and managing a low division team.
That's
the Premier
fair.
League.
When we got a home computer and we were on dial-up, where you had to, it cost a penny a minute. Do you remember that? Remember those days?
Oh God, yeah.
I remember
penny a minute.
My dad.
Do you remember pages?
Yeah, they still use those in hospitals. Sorry.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
I remember my dad always used to make a big point of being like, make sure you disconnect and you unplug the internet. And I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, internet.
I'd go to bed and just leave it on. Come down the next morning and it'd always still be plugged in. And it would have cost, what's like £8?
£8?
And even back then, and we were having a chat today, where my thing that I find really funny at the moment is if somebody comes to me with a problem, I just offer to send them money.
Yeah, you do that to me quite a lot.
Do.
It's like when I'm stressed or talking about Tour Chat, you're like, do you want me to send you a tenner?
Yeah, would you like to...
No, I just want you to be there. And you're like, that feels hard for me.
I will be there. But I just remembered when my dad used to be like, that's been plugged in all night and that cost £8. I'd be like, well, I'll just send you the money. And he'd be like, what are you talking about?
Take it out my pocket money, Dad, I reckon.
Oh, pocket money. How much did you used to get?
Do you know, I can't even remember.
I
wouldn't be even able to guess.
I don't remember the exact amount. I do remember going on a Saturday to go and do a guitar lesson, and after my guitar lesson I was given 20p to spend on pick and mix sweets, and I would get... Do you remember those little blue and white dolphins? They were tiny little sweets. They were blue and white. One of them they were like jelly sweets.
No, I don't remember those.
I would get almost always just get 20 of those, and the person would be like, would you like a variation of sweets?
I'm loving this podcast. It's very much like, do you remember the past?
Yeah, it kind of is. It worked for Peter Kay, mate.
Yeah, it did, to be fair. And we'll sell out the O2 a million times over at some stage, and I don't think that's an unrealistic aim.
No, and that's why we are announcing today that Parsons Tour is going to the
O2. Do you know what? I felt I was ambitious with 100 seats in Falmouth. I feel like I'd be doubly ambitious if I was... well, obviously I'd be quadruply more ambitious. Oh, just shut up. Sorry, my brain is so tired.
Would you like me to do the podcast today on my own?
Sorry, I'm going to get better at this.
No, it's fine.
But no, it's fine. Everything's fine.
There's nothing to be good or bad about.
I don't know.
Some chat's a bit dull. But...
Yeah, I mean, the end of episode 7. But don't worry, we listen back to it, but we try to improve.
But at least we're aware of it.
Yeah, of course.
The start of it, though.
Oh, it was a good start, but we've really drifted. Emslie, what did you want to talk about today, sweetheart? Oh, how's your week been? I haven't even asked you.
Yeah, not bad. I'm joking. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine, listeners? Oh, God, he's a right sort, this one.
It was a nice week. No comedy.
He's mad, him.
My last gig...
No comedy?
No.
But you love gigging.
I do love gigging, but I just have had a gap in my diary, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep the gap in, which has been really nice. And so I have a sabbatical coming up. So you're finally manoeuvring yourself away from the work
stroke comedy life, where you have to balance the two?
Yeah, so I currently have, as do you, I currently have a full-time day job. I mean, I'm technically classed as part-time.
I'm a freelancer, so I would never call that full-time, particularly last year.
Yeah, fair enough.
The year before last.
So I work 4 days a week. But I've been there almost 10 years, and so I have a sabbatical coming up where I'll be off for 6 months, and the focus is solely comedy. It is quite funny because obviously
you're taking the leap. It's a big leap.
A lot of people, when they take a sabbatical at work, they go off and travel around, and everyone's to me like, "Where are you off? Where are you going for 6 months?"
You're going as far as Glasgow,
and I go, "I'm going to Stoke-on-Trent to do a gig."
Yes.
And they're like, "Oh,
it's an exciting time for you.
Big
Transformational time because." I think, just to give a background, you can't make a living out of comedy anymore through just gigging alone, really, unless you lived outside of London, I would suggest. It's you can, but it's very difficult.
I would say it's harder now than it previously was.
To get the amount, the costs of like getting money from gigs is still at a relatively similar level to what it was 10 years ago. So it hasn't gone up with inflation. You can get corporates and other things in, which can really boost that up, and advertising money and whatever. But generally speaking, it's much, much, much harder to do that. So often you've got people juggling two things. Some people temp, all sorts of stuff.
Well, also, not just two things, though, anymore. With the production side of things. Anyway, we won't get into that side of things, but I will have 6 months off, and I'm focusing on comedy. So I spent my time thinking about what I wanted to achieve with those 6 months, which was really good. So what are my goals going to be? What am I going to try and hit? And it's hard with some stuff because obviously I would like to put some effort into social media. However, I can't set a goal of I need to have hit X amount of followers.
You've done the one idea that you had 4 years ago over and over again. That's worked.
And why wouldn't you?
Annoyingly. So, for listeners who haven't seen his ID song, there was about 15 variations of that about 4 years ago.
If you think they're not coming onto Instagram, you are wrong, mate. That
I
was
know.
only on TikTok.
You love tricking the system.
Why wouldn't
Make
you,
a
though?
new thing.
But why?
Well, to be fair, there is no reason why you wouldn't. And
why?
Fair play to you, respect. But let me have this. Let me have it.
Let you have what?
Let me have this little gripe.
I am as flabbergasted as you that when I reposted it 4 years later, it went just as, in fact, better than the first time.
Yeah, particularly on Instagram.
Which is wild. But now I've got all of those backed up and they've only been on TikTok. Why wouldn't I throw them on there?
Yeah, fair enough. But also have another idea.
Yeah, fine. If I
have an ID song equivalent.
Not as easy as it looks, is it, mate?
It's hard, actually.
Yeah.
No, I can see why you haven't had another idea.
So I've been spending a bit of time focusing on my sabbatical and what I'm going to do for that, which has been really nice. And also I went to the Taskmaster Live experience. As we've discussed on this, I quite like...
It's as close to Taskmaster as we're going to get, I'm afraid.
Oh, God, yeah. So
I didn't go, by the way.
I quite like my quizzes. I quite like my escape...
Wasn't invited.
You were invited.
Was I?
You turned it down.
The second one?
Not the second one, no.
No, the first one.
You turned down the first one.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Did I?
In passing.
Oh.
Let's not do our...
That does sound like me. In passing sounds... But as soon as you said in passing, I was like, oh, fuck, that probably was
that
me.
was me.
I love saying no to things in passing.
But I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a problem.
Well, how was it anyway? I interrupted you, Flo.
So I like my escape rooms, my quiz game, all of that sort of stuff.
Your quiz games.
My quiz games. My quiz games.
Your quiz games?
It was absolutely fine.
Was it?
Yes.
7 out of 10? 6 out of 10?
6.5 out of 10.
All
so
right.
when you go in and they've done a really lovely job of... I really like Taskmaster. They've done a really lovely job of walking around. You can walk around a little like museum of Taskmaster. Loads of fun stuff from the show is there. That's really good. The actual tasks themselves... It's really, I completely understand why it's hard for them to get it right, but it's a bit tough.
Honest reviews here.
Yeah.
Honest reviews. That's good. I've not done an escape room, but I'm also never done an escape room.
You'd still be locked in one, to be fair.
I would be. I'm not like, what's the word? Logical. I'm sort of a bit more. What's the word? Thick? I think I'm a bit thick when it comes... Like, you know the one that Lee Mack fucking... The 99% Club?
The 1% Club.
The 1%
That's gone
Club.
well.
See, I can't even remember that. I can't even get that right. I'm shit at that. And that makes... Because some of those questions feel easy. And then I get maybe 3 or 4 in, and then I'm gone. I'm absolutely out.
I think they're
I'm
designed...
never going the full way there.
They're designed to trip you up, though.
Yeah, but some of them are designed to trip the thickos up, and let's face it, I'm one of them.
Yeah, are you a quiz? You don't really quiz.
I
either.
don't really quiz unless it's about flags.
I was going to say you love your flags.
I love flags. I love capitals. I love football generally, and F1 or F1 1995 onwards. I would smash. That's my mastermind specialist subject. But apart from everything else, I'm not great with like general knowledge. I don't know much about films. I don't know much about famous people. I know a bit about politicians.
Yeah.
History, I'm fucking dreadful at. I don't know what's happened when. I don't even know my history.
I'm the same as you.
I don't really. It's not my area. So then you're really narrowing the field of what you're good at in a quiz. Do you know what I mean?
I would say it's probably not worth having you on a pub quiz for F1 1990.
Music round. If it's a certain era, I might be all right.
Yeah.
I'm better at older stuff than modern stuff.
I was going to say, and the quiz.
If it's between like the 60s and 90s, I think I'd do all right.
And now.
Now I do fine if it was like not that some pop I get, because I still listen to some pop, but it would have to be. I'd be good with like Mercury Award winners, like that kind of thing.
You'd be good.
That's where I come into it, because I love music and I love researching newer bands coming up.
You read your reviews for music on Pitchfork.
Well, no, I don't, because I sometimes look at what's coming out on Pitchfork, but I do find even I find them pretentious. And I'm not the least pretentious man on earth, let's face it.
Same music again until I die.
Same music until you die, and fair enough.
Yeah.
Moving on, I'm interested. Something piqued my interest the other day when I read it on our notes app.
Yes.
That we have a joint notes app where we put in little ideas for the podcast. You put one in that said jobs. Jobs. It was quite brief. What was it about?
I am interested in your previous jobs, if you had any previous jobs.
Previous employment. Which is good.
That's an odd way to start that.
Did have past jobs. No, I started at Next.
Next?
God, I hate that place now. It's still like the Next sale gives me hives.
Did you have to wear Next clothes?
Oh God,
Were you in a little waistcoat?
I was in back in the day, less aware of what looked good on me. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was during the 2001 era,
the Top Man era,
2000 era. So everything was skinny jeans, spiky little. It was very sort of its time. So Next clothing really didn't align to that, so you just looked a bit like you were wearing work clothes. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It looked like you were going on a commute. And I was in menswear.
Yes.
Typecast again.
I was going to say, that's where they put the gays.
I wanted to be in home, which is where the gays I was in that home department, weren't it? Also, no one ever fucking went in there. It was the easiest place to be.
Next home feels like the dream.
Oh, what a place that... I went past that and I was just like... During the Next sale, when everyone's fucking mental, you'd wander into home just for a little bit of peace. Yeah, I just need some more hangers. We don't have hangers. I still need them. But I've got some coding. So that was code that we would put over the tannoy for thieves.
Mr. Sands? That was a fire.
If you thought someone was going to rob you, you would say over the tannoy, you'd go, red hanger to the women's wear, red hanger.
And red hanger?
Red hanger.
And white to women's wear?
I hope that's not the same thing now, because now there'll be thieves. I mean, not that they'll be listening to this.
It will be. It'll be the same, because Mr. Sands has been the one for fire forever.
Mr. Sands?
Yeah, and at football now, Mr. Sands has left the building. They still do it.
It's a guy with a big bag of sand.
But Next homeware must be an unbelievably chill job, because in my head, you're not going Next homeware first when you're shopping. That feels like, I couldn't find what I wanted, I'll pop into Next to have a look. Yeah. So it feels like there would be
It's a second option. I mean, I would say that about Next clothing. Although you would not believe the divorced men that would queue up for the Next sale at 6 a.m. You're like, why are you here?
Does that still exist?
I don't know, but it was mad. Let's face it, Next do some basics well. They do shirts well. They do t-shirts well.
I've got a Next suit that's really quite nice.
They do some smart trousers quite well. They do the basics quite well. I'm not having a go at Next. The rest of the range, though, look at yourselves. If you're wearing a casual shirt from Next, you can see it's a casual shirt from Next.
I don't mind.
Oh, you can.
No, I mind.
Sorry, I'm having a real go. If you wear... Also, clothing doesn't matter, and actually, it really doesn't matter what you look like when you wear clothing. It's just something I have a little bit of an interest in, I have a bit of an opinion on it. But generally speaking, it's bollocks if you think that that's important.
I think your problem with Next is more because you work there.
It is genuinely like the music. Oh my god! There's one Arcade Fire song that I cannot listen to because of the Next because they had like 12 songs that would just be on repeat and.
I don't know whether...
It was a good album as well.
I don't know whether we do early releases of things anymore, because there used to be, when we were younger, like Grand Theft Auto would come out at midnight, COD would come out, Call of Duty would come out at midnight, and you'd get up and you'd go...
Stuff just happens to you now, doesn't it?
Well,
there isn't the sort
next
of anticipation.
Sale, people used to get up at like 3 a.m. to get... Or the iPhone, people used to be so excited to go and queue for that.
Yeah, I wonder if that... You're right. I wonder if that is a thing. I just remember it being like the worst day. As soon as next sale weekend came about, you could see everyone sort of... I've genuinely seen happier people at a funeral.
Back to Def
the
Jam.
next staff there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I that was my first job, and then I went to a restaurant.
Yeah.
A cafe.
What did you do there?
A cafe called Rendezvous.
Oh.
Now defunct. So I did. Yeah, it was your paninis and your coffees basically.
You were making them.
So I was doing both at the same time, mate. There was one time I was washing up. So there was the second group of owners were the nicest people ever, and that was sort of the downfall of the place because they were super chilled to the point where, yeah, the opposite for the owners that owned it beforehand. I had to get out of Next, so I went there. They were so unreasonably stressed at a slight bit of thing. There was one time where I was washing up and the owner was cooking in the kitchen. He was cooking in the kitchen, was using a knife, and because I was washing up, he just threw the knife backwards. He was really angry for some reason, and it bounced and it sort of plopped. It missed me by about like a centimetre, and I went into the the washing up bowl.
Oh, fucking winner!
And I was like, in some ways, quite impressive. It felt like we were doing like a kind of Paul Daniels.
I was going to say.
It's very Paul Daniels.
Penn and Teller.
Very Paul Daniels.
What? I just want to get this clear in my head. You were washing up.
I was washing up
and he
diligently, and he threw a knife towards the side of the washing up.
Did he know you were there?
Yeah, of course he did.
Who was this prick?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I never saw him at a sort of shade lower than quite high magenta. He was just permanently angry. The most angry man I've ever met.
And he threw a knife at you?
Well, yeah, I don't think it was at me. I think it was at the washing up pile.
That's mad, though.
Yeah, I remember that job, and but weirdly...
We should be a double act.
He did find that funny. He threw another knife at me, so I had to dodge it. Smashed a bottle over my head. Weird guy. No, because the wife was really lovely, but the guy was just an absolute
Sounds
arsehole.
very Chuckle Brothers.
But I really liked the people I worked with.
Yeah.
So it was really fun. And when they weren't there, it was amazing fun. And then they left, and then the new owners came in, and I was like, this is great. Cafes are brilliant. I was dreading the next sale. Now I'm just working and chatting to people in a cafe and making mediocre coffee.
Yeah.
Because I never quite got the milk there, even though we got trained. I loved it. Anyway, what were your jobs?
What did I do? Paper round early on. That was the most underpaid thing I've ever done, and my mum was very helpful and did most of it.
You are that's so you. That is so you. Mum, do you mind just dropping off these papers on your way down to the shops?
Do you mind dropping off 800 papers? Oh dear. How much are we getting paid for this? Don't worry.
That's amazing. That's so your poor mum.
So I did that. / she did that.
That's so funny.
And then I worked in... Where did I work? I worked in Halfords. But again...
As a mechanic?
No, I very much... People would be like, we've paid... At Halfords, you had to make sure you asked if somebody wanted a wiper blade or bulb fitted if they were buying it. Otherwise, they got it done for free. That was like the Halfords guarantee.
Oh, wow.
So you had to...
The Halfords cheat code.
Yeah, so everyone would always ask, and they'd be like, yeah, I would like it fitted. So then I would just be like, well, I'm not doing that. I was so bad. I'm still so bad at it.
I'm amazed you've been employed for 10 years at your other place.
So I would get one of the bigger boys to do the
bulbs.
The
bigger boys. Bigger boy, there's bulbs need to be done.
But a lot of people who worked there loved cars. So they were
You
they
really
were
couldn't give a
absolutely
shit.
delighted to be spending time outside.
Was that
with
the
a
way you
car.
made it?
No, they would loved it. They'd be like, "Any more bulbs? Let me know." And I'd be like, "Yeah." I
will be letting you know.
I was on the till. I loved it. So did Halfords for a bit. Then, I do remember that the manager at the time, again, similar, he thought it was the most important job in the world. It's really
For
interesting.
some people it is as well, because
Of course.
I think we sort of, when you're younger, you're sort of slightly... You're a twat, aren't you?
Yeah.
When you're younger? Generally speaking, between the ages of 18 and 22, 23, for me, 27, you're an arsehole.
You kind of look at everything a bit askance, and you're a bit like, why is this
why
guy
is
like...
this? No, it's like some people just need to earn money and have a life, and their work is actually really important to them, and they take great pride in it.
But one thing that he used to say that I used to really find funny is Halfords would be open from 8 till 8, as an example. And people would come in and go, "God, you're open quite late." And his thing used to be, "We are the fifth emergency service."
I love that. That is taking your job seriously.
Yeah. and the people would go, yeah? Really? And he'd be like, "Yeah, so obviously, police, ambulance, fire,
The AA?
I don't know.
I would put the AA and the rack above Halfords.
Well, would you not also put lifeguards?
no!
Actual
life sciences.
But then-
completely bypassed the RNLI.
And so I just used to look. I used to just be like, "Oh no!" And often the customers would be like, "What are you talking about?" It was the era of sat navs as well.
Would you say lifeguards on beaches like Nuki are the 6th or 7th emergency service?
I don't think I've ever seen them do anything. They often squirt a bit of saline solution in someone's eye.
A big part of my upbringing was getting angry at them. It was because we'd go into the sea, surf, bodyboard, whatever. You're always in the wrong zone.
Yes.
And it was always a bit like I'm capable. Fuck you.
Well, they're doing
before
it for safety.
Yeah, of course. Again, when you're young, you're an arsehole.
Yeah, that is fair.
And as an adult, you realise all of it makes sense.
I then moved from Halfords. I moved to worked 2 jobs. I did Asda. I did only Asda Home.
Well,
though.
that's the good that you got the home job.
So I got the home job. There was no food, so it meant that it was a bit quieter. I really liked the people I worked with. So I did that in the day. By day, I was Asda. By night, I was Barroom Bar. I worked.
You doubled.
And that was like a pizzeria / bar. So I worked there. Couldn't drive. Too far to walk home, so I'd have to spend my money on a taxi. So most of the money I'd earn would go on a taxi.
You did it for the fun of it.
Yeah, and then...
That feels very stand-up comedy. You set your stall out early.
And then I got...
to break even for doing a night job.
And then I actually got headhunted while I was at Asda.
Oh, hello.
So I took on a 3rd job. I served somebody so well that he was like, you're good. You're good. Would you be interested in O2? So I worked in O2 for 3 days.
And you thought, no.
Oh, mate.
You slid it back and you thought, actually, I'd quite like to see a human being at some stage.
I went to O2 and I hated every single thing about it. I'm not a salesperson.
No.
That's just not my thing.
What is your thing?
Well, just sort of,
You just want to crack on, don't you?
Just crack on and
everything be fine.
Yeah, but I remember they were like, it's your first day, we won't set you a target. And I was like, no, why would you...
Don't set me a target.
Why would you set me a target?
But it's a sales job, to be fair to them.
But not, without training, you can't set me a target.
Yeah, you can.
But anyway, and then they were like, right, when you come in through the front door, you have to duck because there's a sensor on it that counts how many people come in. And we don't want it to count any of the employees.
Well, count more than the one person that would have walked into a phone shop.
Oh, it was back in the days when phone
shops...
Back
in the days where phone shops had more than 10 people in.
And then it was just very sales focused, and I was just like, this isn't...
You don't like pressure.
This isn't the
You've
job
never
for
liked
me.
Pressure.
No, God, no.
No.
And I know all my phone stuff. I know everything about the phones.
Oh, you do now? Fucking hell.
But,
it definitely stayed with you.
But I just didn't want to be the person doing all the sales. And they tried to... I just hated it. So I did 3 days, called the guy, and I was like, this isn't for me. He was then like, you've wasted my time. And I was like, well, I haven't, because...
Yeah, get over yourself. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
You working. No, again, you working. Yeah, maybe you can be a twat in your 30s. Who knew?
And then I went to university, and I then have had my job for the...
Yeah, so you've had a job since uni.
10 years.
Yeah. I like that. It was a little potted history of us, wasn't it? Now?
That was.
You're learning everything about us now.
I actually think that is we've come to the end of the episode based on our potted history.
It is. Do you know what? It's been a really fun episode. Eventually,
It turns out that we were twats when we were younger.
And we had jobs. You're welcome, listeners and watchers.
So everybody, thank you everybody thanks everybody, really.
Lovely. You went in very high octane for your sign off.
I did. I was going to say thank you to everyone getting involved. We would love more people to pop any questions, anything they want us to discuss, anything they want us to try.
Just DM us. DM us. Just DM us.
Just DM us.
Just DM us.
And obviously, you can watch our YouTube, as we've always said. Some people are doing that.
Some people are doing that, and thank you for those who are.
Other people are listening on the podcast
More
platforms.
people are listening to the platform.
Yeah.
There are a good amount of you now, so thank you so much for
It's really
for doing
nice
that.
having people message and say they're enjoying it or they're binging it. That's very sweet. So we're enjoying that. And
yeah, just on that, do spread the word though.
Yes.
We're happy with more people coming in to the vibe.
yeah.
So do join us.
Other than that,
Yes, rate and review us on if you want to.
Spotify, it's very easy. You don't have to do
yeah,
anything. You just click 5 stars.
I don't know what the vibe is with that Apple now.
I don't know either.
I'm sure it's fine.
I-
They're all about minimalism. Surely it's easy.
I know that this is a sign-off, but I did see that you can now get Apple Music on your Android phone, which is interesting.
Wow, they've branched out.
So anyway, thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you very much for listening. I'm on tour. Do buy tickets. josephparsons.co.uk/tour.
I'm on tour with Parsons, so buy tickets for him. See me.
Please do. Follow us on Instagram. Fuck
That's
the
it,
others.
yeah.
Parsons and Emslie. Until next time, it's always a pleasure and never a chore.
Be good yourself, all right?
Bye.
Bye.